Well, there's some video game news. Arcade1Up is shut down. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
On Reddit, there was a email sent around that was leaked that was like, oh, we're like shutting down certain services here and there. And then people were like, oh, what's going on there? And then there was wasn't there something shared? It was like assets were bought.
Yeah, it's a company called Basic Fun. A leaked internal communication circulated online indicating that Arcade1Up staff were let go and that the company would cease normal operations with a rumored shutdown around December 12th. So it was like a very all of a sudden kind of thing. And then outlets picked that up and said they're done. And then very shortly after, like right after the reports, Arcade1Up and Basic Fun, ! Issued a joint clarification that Basic Fun, which is their like a toy and entertainment company, acquired select assets. So not the whole catalog, but they got some, which makes me wonder about like the licenses. 'Cause to me, like, you know, you have your your at games, arcades, and there's a lot. There's more people in the arcade, you know, in the particle board arcade cabinet business than just Arcade1Up. But I think their licensed games was kind of what helped them stand out a little bit. So I wonder like what is happening with those licenses. I kind of always knew though. Even when I bought it, I was like, get these now if you like them. And they were selling like hotcakes. Remember, like every time they would release a new cab, it made big news and all the YouTubers would pick it up and RGT would lick it and everything. And I always kind of knew, I was like, at some point, everybody who wants and can afford a cab and who is nostalgic for that thing is going to have gotten it. And that'll be much like Peloton. Remember, like that big year Peloton sold all those treadmills, and it was like we're all done selling treadmills.
Yes, because one, it was during COVID was when they were like exploding. So people were kind of like, oh, it's like the same thing with retro game reselling. That went off the hook in COVID. So it was like people are kind of like, oh, I want to get a collection here. I want to do this. And so people probably got the designs they want. I got, you know, Street Fighter. I got Pac-Man. I made a Donkey Kong because they wouldn't do it.
I feel like every license that you could imaginably hope for that you would have wanted did get released.
Yes.
Your Galagas, your TMNTs, your X-Men's, your Simpsons, your Terminator 2s.
And then once you got your personal one that you wanted, there are definitely like Arcade1Up, like mega enthusiasts, the whales, so to say, who got like every single one filled like a McMansion in the Midwest.
Stupid. Don't do that.
With Arcade1Ups, there of course there's those, but a normal person probably got maybe one, maybe two. Then what they did is they modded it to play every single game.
And you don't need to fill a whole fucking stupid room.
You don't need it after that.
Yeah.
So people who did that. They did that in 2021.
Yep.
And now it's over.
That was all happening, you know, about, I don't know, call it 8 months before the retro handheld thing also exploded, the emulated retro handheld thing. Like it wasn't quite a thing yet. And a lot of those arcade collections came to Switch, and then Switch kind of changed things, you know, and so there was think of it this way. There was a moment in time where that TMNT cab was the only legal way to own TMNT arcade. So there was novelty to it for sure. And that artwork, is novel. One of my critiques, I have a lot of critiques about that company. Because, having to buy resold ones at a terrible markup, that's not fun. So I don't think they did a great job stocking their most popular stuff. And then by the time like Simpsons came out, it was like $800 or something. It was like very expensive.
It was very expensive. They were more reasonable. Like I think I got the Street Fighter one for like $250, which is fine. That's good. Yeah. And then a couple years later, they were like $400, $500, and I'm like, ugh. I
mean, $250 is what you buy the mini ones for. I have a couple of little teeny mini ones, and and you can get your 8-bit dough arcade stick, and you can. There's just a lot of other options.
Mr. Pies, like you there's so many other things you can get now.
Look, I can't regret it because I have it over there, and it has acted as the faithful backdrop to a lot of podcasts. But it's a one-time novelty. It's once you're done, you're done. I wanted Mortal Kombat and TMNT, and then I got a little bit of FOMO because they released the Turtles in Time edition of TMNT.
Right.
But I would say I have two so aside from price, I have two major critiques about like here's something you could have done that would have made you a lot more popular. Number one, you're gonna have to have a lot more games than like
2.
They would do like arcade collections. It would be like 10 games. But the Mortal Kombat one was 3, TMNT was 2, Simpsons was 2, and the other one was fucking Simpsons Bowling or something. It's like, come on. There was a Midway one that had a few more. But like, if anybody's gonna ever spend hundreds of dollars on a video game product, they ought to be able to play more video games than that. And so then that leads into my second critique, which is you basically have to mod it. You'd be a fool not to mod it, right?
Yeah. And then the Act Games one was that came out, the Legends one. That was like you could just put a USB stick into it and mod it.
So that's what I was going to say. It was like they didn't make these things. They could have so easily been like, you can mod it. That could have been like part of their strategy.
Like the Chinese handhelds. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're not putting Mario on here, but you could if you want to.
Would have been super easy. Barely an inconvenience. But instead, what you find yourself doing is like you have to like take that wood off and you have to carve holes into the back. I think like their standard, the ones that shipped with these anyway, they don't connect in, USB. So they're not. So if you do get a Raspberry Pi, like you have to mod the entire control deck. Like it is not an easy mod, basically.
Yeah, you had to get a board that kind of translates the signal into an HDMI to plug it into the Raspberry Pi.
It's like, you know what would have been a genius move? I don't know. You tell me if it's genius. Why not sell the components of the license? Because a lot of it's just the licensed artwork. So why not just sell me the sides and the control deck and, just sell me everything but the games, basically. And then be like, and then connect anything, connect the laptop, you can watch YouTube on it or some bullshit like a wink, wink.
Micro Center for a while, you could like buy basically all the components to make an arcade. Actually, I went to Micro Center recently and they had like a arcade Pi and it was basically, the kind of just a control panel that you could plug a Pi into. So they could have done something like that where it's like, it's all of the licensed art, plug your Pi in and you're good.
And you're like maybe partner with 8BitDo or something and that's what the control stick is. And maybe, what I mean? Like, so it's like the guts of a cabinet. And then, because there was a lot of home arcade hobbyists. Do you remember when we kind of discovered like the home arcade, like social media? And we're like, God, this is fun. This is a break from the 2020 election and COVID or whatever was going on at the time. Just seeing a lot of like middle-aged men make their home arcades was really, it was a good time. I thought the Arcade1Up time was, and you and I both made, pretty in-depth videos about how we got ours set up. I'll say this too. I feel like through my mod, through that Raspberry Pi, that Pi 4 that's still connected, I discovered a lot of games. Like I would say that whole thing got me into the next steps, which were the retro handhelds and everything else. But that like there's a lot of like PSP and because you got to remember even like 5 years ago, MAME emulation was still a little bit, wouldn't you say, it was like a little bit esoteric, like not the thing everybody did.
Honestly, the whole experience made me more okay with emulation for sure. Because I was one of those people who are like, oh yeah, I have my classic consoles. I play on the classic consoles all the time. But then when I saw you playing like Chrono Trigger on your Mortal Kombat 2 thing, I was like, maybe this is cool. Maybe this is fun.
Yeah, it is sweet. Emulation is just another way to have fun with video games, and so sometimes analog is a fun way to have fun with video games. Sometimes collecting the original game, sometimes EverDrives. Like it's all just ways to burn money and have fun with your hobby. Actually, in my arcade video, I list out a ton of the games that I used to play on it a lot. Charlie Ninja, Metal Slug, Demon Front, the Mario 3 Mix, of course. I remember having a lot of fun playing like Mario Land 2 Deluxe, the color edition one on the arcade. It looked really nice on the arcade. There's a lot of good times, but I admit that like I'm not really reaching for this thing all that often, but the times we do play it is we come down here, we watch a movie, we have like a family movie, and inevitably myself or Gloria gets a little bored and wanders over to the arcade and starts dicking around with an arcade game. And for her lately, it's been Tetris. We play the SNES Tetris, the 2-player. So like, and she's trying to get better. I hear that I went to my sister's for Thanksgiving, and supposedly she has 2 skills that I have that, must be genetic. She's very good at Tetris and she's a really fast typist. And she's like, there's no way you're a faster typer than me, and there's no way you can beat me at Tetris. And I was like, bitch, please. So I was like, can we please have a competition? She was like, no. She wouldn't play me. I wanted to beat her in front of her children.
Was it Typing of the Dead or Mario Teaches Typing Out and we could figure this out?
Yeah.
Mario Teaches a Typing.
Welcome to Mario Teaches a Typing.
Or just raw dog it and do a little Mavis Beacon. You and me, sis. For our parents' honor. It's fine. She's a doctor. I'm a film IT guy, but like typing is still at the heart of both things. I will say this. I think that my accuracy in typing is starting to go down in quality a little bit. I used to be like very, on AIM and stuff back in the day.
Make sure your phone lines aren't busy. Talk to you later, Mother. There's other hot singles waiting to chat.
I was the guy with the capital letters and the periods. I wasn't loosey-goosey, and I still am not. But I've been spending a lot of time in Claude coding, and it understands typos. And so like there's no incentive to be like, make sure there's no typos. So there's a little bit of, for those who hate AI, I'll throw you a bone. Starting to erode my typing accuracy. So I don't know, man. Like, look, I'm extremely done with arcades probably forever.
Yeah, I mean, I got everything that I needed. Like I said, I got the Street Fighter, I got Pac-Man, I made my own Donkey Kong. And then I also got a Partycade. It was a Miss Pac-Man one. Oh. It was like this weird deal at Ocean State Job Lot where they're like, you just like buy it and they give you a gift card that equals that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I get flour from Ocean State Job Lot, so I just like bought $300 worth of flour, and I'm like, I get an Arcade1Up. Okay, sure. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's like a full size screen, but it just hangs on the wall. It's pretty interesting, but I don't play them. It's just the decoration.
I think, I like that it's 4x3, and so it's kind of optimized for all the retro games. Another regret, honestly, I think that when you put an arcade in your house, one of the things you're saying is party over here. You're saying, like, come to my house and play video games with me a little, next time I host, we can have pizza in the basement and we can play arcade games together. The times that Gloria, obviously she's here all the time. And when her friends are over, or the times my nephews have come over for like her birthday party, they're very attracted to it. They climb up on it. They start slamming on it. They start damaging it. So right away, they're like damaging it. And I'm like, oh no. But then they have no clue how to pick a game because there's tens of thousands. And so like I have to guide them through that process. So there's like no fun in discovery. It doesn't have that feeling of like I'm at a Papagino's and I'm going to play whatever game. Inevitably they choose Mario 3 or something and they just fucking suck ass at Mario 3. I can't play Mario 3. And I'm like, you can jump over stuff. And they're like, I'll try to help them. They bat me away. And then they get bored and they leave. And I'm like, oh, so much for the arcade.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had parties where my nephew will come and he'll play like one round of Pac-Man. It's like, it's fun that this is like what games used to be. And then, they leave.
Because our memory of it is like you'd go to a restaurant or something and your whole family would be there and you'd see the arcade and you'd be like, can I go over there? Can I play that? Can I play that for the whole fucking time? Can I vanish into the arcade?
I want to be that. I want it.
Yeah, it's not something like you did one round of Pac-Man. Like, fuck it. But also, like, video games were a lot more scarce. We've been having a lot of fun with when we went there for Thanksgiving. I wanted to play Switch with the kids, but we played like Smash Brothers. It's it's a fine party game and everything, but it's like you got to be kind of good at Smash Brothers to have fun at it. Like you have to kind of know how to play Smash. I've talked about it on the pod before. There's a game called Stick Fight. It's a couple bucks on Switch, and let me tell you, it's worth your time. The barrier of entry is low. You play as a stick figure. It launches you into a fighting arena, a la Smash Brothers, but simple art. And you can just kind of punch each other until you die. But on some interval, guns will fall from the sky. And some of the guns have like insane kickback and will like kill you basically. Some of them like launch like snakes at the other person. Some of them are lasers or whatever. And progressively, the levels become more insane. Some of them are built on just boxes and the boxes all collapse. And so it really is like every round is probably going to last 30 seconds max. And so it's pretty fun with 2 people. It's really fun with 4 people. And if it's an adult playing with children, it's mwah. Because the kids have such a good chance of winning, and different kids will have different personality types. Maybe I can just hide during the carnage or whatever. And so, and the attention deficit part of it, like hey, I want to turn. Oh man, I'm out. Like that whole thing is gone. You're playing all over again. So it's really Stick Fight, man. You got I think it's the best game for Switch. Stick Fight.
Game of the year.
There should be more YouTube content dedicated to like games you can play with your kids that are actually going to be fun for you, not like you playing your favorite games with them.
Yeah. Games you can play on Thanksgiving for this amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the sell is like games you can play in front of your humorless adult family members where they won't want to break up the party and say, hey, everybody stop playing video games because everyone's having way too much fun. And it wouldn't make damn sense. even for those who hate video games. Because there's always inevitably one person who's like, I hate games and I wanted all of us to sit and stare at my thing.
This is what I ate at my vacation. I know we're eating right now, but I can talk about the food I ate at my vacation.
Can you shut up?
Can you, shut up?
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.